So we're back, Thomas. Our third edition of International Horse Racing with the international man of mystery and intrigue, the Austin Powers of horse racing. 53-1, Tom. How's it going this morning?
Oh, it's doing just peachy. Getting ready to watch a little racing and been watching some racing this morning.
Are you hitting another 53-1, or are you just still resting on that one?
Let's just say I could do better.
Yeah, well, that's horse racing, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, sometimes you're the king of the sport, and sometimes you're under its hoof. That's for sure.
Or the biggest stinker that ever was out there.
For sure. I've had days like that where it's kind of like drinking when you wake up the next day and you're like, man, I swear I'm never going to do that again. Fortunately for me, I did stop drinking, but I didn't stop the horses. And here we are. Now I'm even doing horses internationally, which is, almost borderline crazy. So where are we going this week, Tom?
We're going to go do Haydock. We're going to do Sandown, and we're going to do St. Cloud in France.
It's not St. Cloud?
Well, yes, you can pronounce it that way, but technically, but that's one of the major tracks in France. There's only 4 tracks in France that have Group 1 races.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so they're Deauville, Chantilly, Paris Longchamp, and St. Cloud. You
have that accent down well. If Steve Martin ever needs someone to take his place in the Pink Panther movies, you have it down perfectly.
Well, I have a little background. Many moons ago, I worked for a French champagne house. So my French is not very good, but it was good enough to hum a few bars and fake it at that point in my life.
Man, well, you had me going here with the clue. For sure. I was like, say clue, what are you talking about? You forgot the D. It reminds me one time I was coming home from Germany. My grandmother, she lived over there, and I was on an airplane and sitting between a person from France and one from England, kind of like what we're covering today. And they were messing with me a little bit, and they're like, what do you call a person who speaks 2 languages? It's bilingual. What do you call a person who speaks 3 languages? I said trilingual. And they said, what do you call a person who speaks 1 language? And I knew where they were going with that, right? An American, right? So I said to them, the ones who saved your ass in World War II. And they both looked at me like, oh, man, he got me on that one. So but
they were not expecting that.
No, they weren't expecting that at all. I said, yeah, besides, you would be speaking German now. But in any case, let's get on to horse racing and forget about our history tour today. The first place we're going to go to is Haydock, right? That's where we're going to go to Haydock. Let me make sure I bring the right one in there. And this is the Lancashire. Lancashire, another mispronunciation.
Join the club.
Mm-hmm. Lancashire Oaks.
Horse names to mispronounce too here.
Yeah, horse names. We'll call the boy horses, girl horses, everything else, but that's all right. So this race is tell us a little bit about the race, how far it is, the track conditions, and that seems to play a big difference over there.
It's a 1.5 mile race. It's for 3-year-olds and upwards. And right now, Haydock is rated as a good surface. So in my handicapping, I went with that.
So that's our equivalent of firm?
I would say not as firm as our tracks are. I mean, a lot of the tracks in this country, I think, are just hard grass courses, especially if they're, even when they're watering, they don't seem to be as soft, so to speak, as some of the courses in Europe. And so you gotta look at it, you gotta look. Sorry,
I gotta do something with them, right?
You gotta look at it in terms of their. Try to follow along as best you can. Some areas of the world are better at rating courses than others. Australia has their own system that New Zealand also uses, which I think is a little more accurate. But everybody has their way, and just watch the conditions and make sure that you're not betting for a firm surface.
Mm-hmm. All right. So if it's a good surface, let's talk about who you like and why, and then I'll throw my guesses in there as well.
Well, we did okay last week.
Yeah, we did.
I think we can. Let's see if we can build on that.
Mm-hmm.
My top choice is the number one, Alpinista. Alpinista.
Alpinista.
I like the seasonal debut against three other horses. She broke slow. She tracked the leaders. When the jockey asked her to go about 3 furlongs out, she had plenty left, and two furlongs out, she was really battling and got the lead in the final strides. Now, considering the size of the field, I thought she got a lot out of that race. And she's finished second in a Group 1 race, and she lost to Love. Well, a lot of people lost to Love.
I remember that horse.
And she's also run second at a Grade 3 level. I think it may be time for her to win at this Group 2 level.
It looks like the odds makers think she's going to win. She's 6-4 favorite.
Yeah, I put her on top. I thought actually number 9, Mystery Angel, was going to be the favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And she was second to Snowfall, while nobody was close to her in the Oaks at Epsom. She's won at shorter distances as a 2-year-old, and she's shown some liking to the softer, heavier ground. So I don't know. If she runs her race, I think she's got a chance of placing in here.
Mm-hmm.
My final pick is number 4, La Lune. She's won her last 2 races, and one was a Group 3 at Haydock. She's stepping up in company, but she seems to have a good turn of foot right now, and she's running some of the best numbers of her life.
Mm-hmm.
She's won at short distances, and she's won at longer distances, so I like that. She gets an added advantage of weight for age, which always helps.
Mm-hmm.
The only negative that I could find was that Henry Candy, who's the trainer, in the last 14 days has no winners.
Out of
17 runners. So
he's due.
I don't know if this is his best horse in the stable or the worst horse. I mean, who knows? I mean, I don't know, but I think she's got a chance in here.
For me, I agree with you on the one horse. That pretty strong 4-year-old debut came out, ran away from the field. So hopefully she'll be better in the second start off a layoff. I got a little bit of a long shot in my second pick. When I do this, we don't see the odds. It's a little bit different than how it's the Forrest Gump handicapping. You just have a little bit of information, and then when you open it up, you find out what you got. So I have the number 2 horse, Barani Star, as my second pick at 18-1. It's another one that ran strong as a 4-year-old debut and ran 4th last year in the Ribblesdale at Royal Ascot, which is not a bad race, right? It's a pretty solid race.
Yeah, that's a decent race.
Mm-hmm. So I think that right now 18-1, considering the strong Ribblesdale, the strong debut as a 4-year-old, to me 18-1 looks like an overlay, but I'm not the odds maker. I agree with you on Mystery Angel. I think that that's a horse that's probably going to fare better on a little bit softer course than on a firm course. And then the last one I have is Tribal Craft, but that one doesn't look like it. Oh, it is in there, the 6 horse, 13-2. This is a 6-year-old that's probably better in its third race off a layoff. Some traditional U.S. handicapping there. So that's how I have 1, 2, 9, 6. And Tom, I think you had 1,
9, and 4.
1, 9, and 4. Okay, perfect. And we'll have, of course, like always, the write-up, Tom's write-ups, and my picks. You want to read Tom's write-up and pay more attention to his picks than mine. But so every now and then I get lucky on one of these. So now we're gonna move off.
It's a learning experience. That's the way I look at it.
And we have some guests in the background now. A cat in the poodle.
Yeah, we got a poodle and a cat, and the poodle wants to go to the dog park.
I don't blame her for that. And then they're also agreeing with our picks.
Yeah,
for sure. So let's take a look at. Now we're heading over to Sandown. Am I getting that one at least right?
Yes.
All right. And this is race number. I don't know the race number, but this is the Coral Charge. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. This is scheduled to be the second race of the day.
Second race of the day. And tell us a little bit about the conditions here.
This is a 5 furlong race.
A sprint
for Group 3 types, and it's for 3-year-olds and upwards. At the time I did my handicapping, I didn't have the draws, but they are now available.
All right.
And I went with a long shot. I picked number 10, Happy Romance.
Number 10.
I should be getting big odds.
Well, according to the odds maker, right now you're getting 25-1. You could only done better if you had gone with Rocket Action, and then you would have been able to change your title to 66-1, Tom, if it had won.
Yeah. Well, I'll go with 25-1 at least at this point.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what movement happens. The Royal Ascot and Newbury races were less than stellar. So people would ask, okay, why do you like the horse? And I like the horse because I think it's dropping back in distance, and it has done very well at 5 furlongs. It has 2 wins and 4 races. One was a maiden, the other was a Newbury win against 24 horses, where it was the favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think I think it's been running at 6, and against good company, but I think 5 is a better distance for this horse. And based on the way it moved at Ascot in the last race, I really think that this is the case. I mean, it made a move, got close to the leaders, made up some ground, and then at the 2 furlong marks seemed to back up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that may be a useful race. I also like the weight that it's carrying, so it gets a little light in here. And I think that'll be a nice a chance for this horse to get in the money.
Mm.
I, of course, took the favorite, number 3, Arcebo, as my second choice. It ran a really great race at Royal Ascot last time out against Oxt at 28-1.
Mm.
I mean, if it comes anywhere close to repeating that race, it's in this Group 3, it should be the winner.
Mm.
But it's only won handicap races this year and has lost its group races. So obviously won to Oxt, but Oxt is now considered one of the best sprinters in England. So we have to keep that in mind.
Mm.
My final selection is number 4, Come In From the Dark. Originally, I thought this was going to be at Price, and it isn't. It's the second choice.
Yeah, 7-2.
Yeah. So 3 really good efforts this year. In my mind, it's a first, a second, and a third. They were in a handicap and a Group 3 level. Now, just failed in its last attempt, and one of the expressions was it got stuck at 1 furlong to go. So it had some little trip problems at that point. I think with a little better racing luck, I think you'll see a better result here.
Well, for me, I have a horse that you didn't pick, so maybe we'll get something here. Lazuli, the one horse, but it'd be probably in the 5th gate, it looks like, because they do things a little bit differently. The horse is 3 for 5 at the distance. I think 1 for 2 at the track, and we learned all about Charlie Appleby over here when he dominated on Belmont Day. So I think that's a pretty solid trainer-jockey combination. The horse has run pretty well. I agree with you. Came from the park. The horse is a neck away from being undefeated this year, which is a positive. Arecibo, the only thing I did finish nicely second in the King Stand, but this is a horse that had just a god-awful 2020. I think it had 1 second in 11 races, nothing else. So I don't know if it's rounded back into form, just needing softer company, or what the situation is there. But I'm a little worried about that regression back to that 0-1 and 0-11 line from last year. And then finally, I have number 9. That is Atalas Boy. It's a horse that has run pretty well at the distance, has run pretty well at the track, and it's been first or second in 6 of its last 8 races. So I have the 1, the 4, the 3, and the 9. Tom has the 10, the 3, and the 4. Is that right?
Yep.
All right, fantastic. And now we're going to finish up with our English racing, and this should have probably said this from the beginning, but the races that we've covered so far on Saturday, tomorrow, the 4th.
And the next race is also Saturday.
Right. And then the last race we're going to cover is on Sunday, which I didn't really get a chance. And this next race, you got a 25, probably a better than 25% chance. I get at least a 33% chance to pick the winner. There's only a 4-horse field in the Coral Eclipse, if they pronounce it as Eclipse or not Ellipse or something like that. I don't know. But 4 horses, you have Misriff is the favorite, followed by St. Mark's Basilica, ADB or whatever, and then El Drama. So, Tom, how are you ranking these low-priced, big-time favorites?
Well, I tossed out Roger Varian's horse, El Drama. I think it's really overmatched here. I took Mistriff as my top choice. Has won in France, run in Dubai, and run on the sand dirt track in Saudi Arabia, and beat Charlton and Nixgo. So those are probably our best at that point in the January and February time frame. And it went off at a great price here, paid $40. I had it. I thought it was the one to beat. Gosden can do, in that kind of, when he's got top horses like that, he can condition them and points them in the right direction. And that was obviously, he felt very strongly, especially the Saudi Arabia race. Smartly, they've given the horse a break after those races because, it probably needed it. And so they're going to, bring it back in here. It's won very well. The only race that it lost finished 8th, and it happens to be my next choice. So it has really faced top company all along. It lost in October to Albion. Number 1, Albion. They shipped that horse down to Australia, and it beat Very Elegant, and it lost to Very Elegant. Well, Very Elegant is a New Zealand bred mare who's probably the top horse in Australia right now. She's targeted to go for the Arc. That's the owners would like to do. Of course, all things considered, who knows what will happen. That's in October. We're here. He's beating the best there, and then he lost to the best there, and those are both Group 1 races. He has 12 wins and 22 starts. I would not consider that bad, and he's also considered for the Arc. So that'll be interesting. My final choice is the number 4, the 3-year-old St. Mark's Basilica. Be trying older horses for the first time after winning the French Derby. He started out his 2-year-old career running 6 and 7 furlongs, and not great. They put him in a seasonal debut in a mile, wins, and he's just been winning since. He's going to be very tough in here. And the form says that he's right on. So if the top 2 have any missteps or their conditioning is not right up there, he could easily win this race.
Yeah, I have St. Mark's Basilica as my top pick because it just, when I look at the form, sometimes you just see in the form a horse that's just kind of going like this. Got that ascension, getting better and better and more confident from race to race. So I have St. Mark's Basilica as my top pick. I have number 1, ADB, as my second choice because, as you mentioned, Misriff did lose a race and finished 8th. And guess who the winner of that race was, right? Was ADEB. And then I have Misriff as my third pick. So, yeah, they're going to come in some order of 1, 2, and 3. You and I have 2 combinations. There's only one other combination left in terms of who might win the race. And then I have El Drama as the 4th pick. Probably is way overmatched here. But the good news is it's going to collect a 4th place check no matter what, right?
I'm going to get something out of this. And if nothing else, a good workout.
And you get a chance to see really where your horse is at against some of the better horses that are probably available to run against right now.
Right now, Mistriff is considered one of this and Palace Pier are the 2 top horses in Europe.
So yeah, you get a chance to kind of measure where you're at, so to speak. And then the last race is on Sunday. This one's in France. It's the St. Cloud. And unfortunately, I didn't get any chance to take a look at this because there's not any data available, at least wasn't any to me, the way I look at things. But Tom does have some insights for us. This race is on Sunday, approximately, I don't know what time, but July 4th race. Looks like it's 2:50 local time. Is that right?
Right. So 6 hours earlier for us.
Okay. And what do you like here?
About 8 o'clock. This is a Group 1. The distance is 1.5 miles, and the surface is rated very soft.
Yeah, you can see that right here.
It has been raining there, so I did handicap with that in mind. My top choice is In Swoop, top class runner, 1.5 miles. He's beaten some of these horses. He's running in top company. The negative is he's placed in Group 1s, but he's not won in Group 1s. So this time it's kind of the time to step up in my mind. Last 6 races, he won 3 and finished second 3 times. So percentagely, that's pretty good. I wouldn't complain if I owned a horse like that. Is it this time? I hope so. Because I think this, obviously the Arc is their target, and they finished second last year. So this will be a big step forward. I took Baron Samedi as my second choice. This is I had to look up the name because
that's the number 4 horse.
Something weird, and it's a Haitian voodoo evil. So that's where that comes. Well, I put in my comments, the evil in this race was his first 5 races. He didn't do a darn thing. I mean, finished last, second to last. I mean, just awful.
Maybe someone put the evil voodoo on him.
Yeah, well, apparently, but then they gelded him.
Well, that's
and
even more.
7 wins in a row.
He's probably, that's debatable as to which one is more Baron Samedi.
Yeah. So he wins 7 times in a row, including in France and in the U.S., and he's run at mile distances of 1.25 miles to 2 miles. The 2-mile race was the last race here at Belmont. And he likes to run on good heavy tracks. He's run them on them all and keeps winning. His last effort, the only question I have that at Belmont is how good was this grade 2 field, because he's stepping up to grade 1 for the first time, and it's a make or break in my mind. This is where you'll find out whether that winning streak will continue, or is he going to regress a little because of the company. My final choice is Broom. It's the Aidan O'Brien horse. He's won in England and Ireland, but again, no Group 1s. Last time out at Royal Ascot, he finished second to Wonderful Tonight, who is also targeted for the Arc. So we're talking some decent horses in here, and I wouldn't be surprised if Broom was also on that track. Last time out, he was just no match for Wonderful Tonight. She just overwhelmed the field, and he tried, but he wasn't going to get to her. And he's got 14 starts in stakes races. He's won 5 of them and placed in 4 of them. So he's in form. I think he can pick up a piece of this, but I don't know if he can win.
All right. So for the St. Cloud, you have the 3, the 4, and the 5. Unfortunately, I don't have anything to add. Some might say that I never have anything to add, but for real this time. So next weekend, how many races are we looking for next weekend? 4 as well?
I'm hoping right now, let me pull up I don't have it up on my screen. Let me pull it up real quick.
Yeah, so I didn't let Tom know I was going to put him on a spot like this. So I was just checking out his reaction time, his ability to work well under pressure. That's what was on his LinkedIn.
We have the July Newmarket stuff going to be run.
All right.
We've got on the 9th, we have one of the championship series, a Group 1 race for 3-year-olds plus. This is a mile race and restricted to fillies and mares. On the 10th, we have the Newmarket July Cup, and that one we got a Heritage Handicap, another handicap. One's at 7 furlongs, which are always fun to handicap, and then one's at 1.25 miles. The bigger races are the Group 1 Darley July Cup race. That's at Newmarket, and that's for 3-year-olds and up, and that's a 6 furlong race. So we should see Oxt and a couple of the other top ones that we saw at Royal Ascot running in there.
Mm-hmm.
And to pick up on, we do have one Irish race that may be of note. It's the Irish Stallion Farms Brownstown Stake. It's a Group 3. It is also a 7 furlong race, and for fillies and mares. And if we want to be really aggressive, we can pick up the last time this year. I mean, for their seasons ending in Hong Kong, we have the racing from Shawten.
All right. Well, listen, that you brought that up, Tom. If there's anything that you want us to cover, any races you want us to work down in Australia, New Zealand, Hong Kong, anywhere, the races you want us to cover, go ahead and email me, gtsrichb@gmail.com. Let us know what you want us to cover. We'll go ahead and we'll have our international man of mystery and intrigue, the Austin Powers of horse racing. Tom and I will get to it, and we'll put our picks out there, and hopefully we'll find something of value in there. Starting next week, we're going to do this show every Friday at 12 noon Eastern time. I think it's 12 noon, right? Is that what Eastern or 12 noon Central time?
Yeah, no, that would be 1 o'clock Eastern. 12.
Okay, 1 o'clock Eastern. Yeah, I was thinking to myself, that doesn't sound right in my own head. So, so 1 o'clock Eastern, 12 o'clock every Friday. And then Terry and I will also be doing some work Monday through Thursday. And if Tom wants to join us, he's welcome anytime. Where we'll be covering races for that particular day, pick 4, a best bet of the day, just kind of getting ready for the day of racing, talk about some news, scratches, that sort of thing. Of course, yesterday we had a great guest on with Sophie Doyle. I hope you enjoyed that, Tom. I know I did.
She was a lot of good insight, a really top-notch interview and discussion with her, and she gave us some ideas that we probably hadn't thought about in the past.
Yeah, so make sure you check that out. That's one of the best things, like I've said over and over again, to the point where it's becoming cliche for me to say it again, but I've learned so much from the guests that we have on, and you just pick up a nugget here, a nugget there, and the next thing you know, you have an encyclopedia of information that you didn't have before. Well, that's it for...
She's riding here at Arlington today.
Mm-hmm.
So check out the Arlington card if you see something of interest and see what she's riding. You may want to check that out, and also definitely check out her Prairie Meadows mounts for Saturday, because she's got some ones that are very much going to be right there in the race. Yeah,
some of them are really live, and not all of them are. I think only one of them, she was a short price, and I think in every race that we covered, race 5, 7, 8, and 10 on Saturday's Prairie Meadows card, I think in 3 of those she was in. I know at least in 1 or 2 of them she had double-digit odds, morning line odds. So, and I think her horses will definitely be competitive because they had some advantage over the rest of the field. So, well, that wraps up this week's international show of horse racing. We covered 3 races on Saturday in England, 1 on Sunday in France. Until we meet again next week, folks, good luck at the international races.